Arnold. We are on the planning committee for the Relay for Life of Douglas County. And it is an overnight event established to benefit the American Cancer Society. We have relay teams. This year we have 72 teams registered who will be walking. They'll have a representative from their team on the track at Free State all night long. And we are gathering donations, of course, for the American Cancer Society. And Shelley, do the same thing?
So far, we have 653 registered participants to be at the event. Our goal this year is to raise $175,000, and as of late this afternoon, we are just over $116,000.
That's great.
We expect about 250 survivors to participate in the opening ceremonies, and I'll take a lap around the track to open the event.
That's great. I'd like to read the proclamation for you at this time.
Great.
Whereas the American Cancer Society Relay for Life is a life-changing event that gives everyone in more than 5,000 communities across the globe a chance to celebrate the lives of people who have battled cancer, remembered loved ones lost, and fight against the disease. And whereas money raised during the Relay for Life of Douglas County, Kansas helps support research, education, advocacy, and patient services. And whereas Relay for Life helps fund more than $100 million in cancer research each year. And whereas cancer survivors are honored with a victory lap as they lead the way around the track, followed by teams who keep up a representative walking on the track from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. because cancer never sleeps. And whereas survivors and those remembered are represented by thousands of luminaries which line the running track, their candles glowing from dusk throughout the night. Now therefore I, Robert J. Shum, Mayor of the City of Lawrence, Kansas, do hereby proclaim June 3 through 9, 2012, Relay for Life Week in Douglas County, and encourage citizens to participate in the American Cancer Society Relay for Life of Douglas County to be held at Free State High School track on Friday, June 8 through 7 a.m. on Saturday, June 9, 2012. Congratulations, and hope you meet your goal. I'm sure you will, and it's a great event.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Next item on the agenda is a recognition of Bicycle-Friendly Community Award. I think we have some representatives here.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Lisa Hallberg. And I'm Jessica Mortinger. We're pleased to announce that the League of American Cyclists has designated Lawrence, Kansas as a bicycle-friendly community at the bronze level. They commended our initial commitment to infrastructure and engineering, including the policy to engineer streets with consideration of bicyclists, our encouragement of bicycling through promotion of National Bike Month, and our existing and growing bicycle mode share of 2%. They highlighted the construction of the Burroughs Creek Trail and the helmet and bicycle giveaways as notable achievements. However, the Bronze Award is just the starting point. The League of American Cyclists encourages Lawrence, as do I, to continue the commitment to make this city a great place for cyclists. I hope that by following the League's recommendations, we can achieve the Silver Award designation by 2016. Those recommendations include expanding the existing bike route network to increase connectivity throughout the community, adding bike lanes, bike routes, as well as off-street routes and paths to accommodate riders of all levels, increase bicycle safety education through both media and workshops for both bicyclists and motorists, and encourage local businesses to promote cycling for both employees and patrons. We are very encouraged by our designation as a bicycle-friendly community and look forward to the continued support of the City of Lawrence to accomplish the recommendations of the League and achieve this silver level award designation.
Well, thank you very much. It's a nice honor for us to receive that. And you want to present that to us?
Sure, yeah.
We get one sign. We already have, I believe 6 signs posted throughout the city, and we have one that's missing, and so this one will replace our missing sign.
All right. And if you'll turn to the city webpage, you'll see the Lawrence City Commission with bicycles. So
Yes.
we're very supportive of the bicycle concept and complete streets and everything else that goes with it. So hope to see more bike lanes and more bicyclists on the streets. So thanks for your help.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is a consent agenda. All matters listed below on the consent agenda are considered under one motion and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on those items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Is there any item on the consent agenda that any member of the commission wants to remove? I have one here for clarification. It'll be item number 12. We'll pull that. Is there any item that a member of the public would like to remove for separate discussion? Seeing none, seeing no one, I should say. In addition to the balance of the consent agenda, which is everything less item 12, and including the claims for payroll in the amount of $1,849,422.36, and claims from vendors, 284 vendors, for $2,452,338.32. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Moved Amix, second Dever. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries 5-0. Item number 12 is a request for free parking. And what has happened here is that there's been a date change. Jonathan, why don't you go over that with us?
Mayor, the applicant, Constance Wolf, with Lawrence Giveback. She requested a date change from June 12th to June 19th. We did receive correspondence from Downtown Lawrence Incorporated endorsing that date as well. So the item is just changing the date from the 12th to the 19th.
Any questions? Public comment? Commission discussion? Entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Moved Amix, second Dever. All in favor say aye. Aye. Carries 5-0. Next item is the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the commission. A few items in this week's report. Been hosting a number of different meetings in regards to the master planning efforts that we have on the former farmland property. We've met with the area neighbors to the south along 23rd Street. We've met with the neighbors in East Hills Business Park. We had a general community meeting at the fairgrounds to talk about the possible redevelopment and the conceptual plan that you see there for infrastructure, primarily streets, for the property. We're doing a number of different things related to that. We're working with Westar that has an aged electrical substation immediately to the north of where we want to put in O'Connell Extended. So the discussion with Westar is to do a land swap. They actually don't own the land. They have an easement on the property. We own the land. But we would provide them with new property for them to relocate a modernized substation that we could also landscape around, and then they would then give up their existing site. So that's one of the major issues that we've been working through. We've also been in discussions, and Vice Mayor Dever participated here a couple of months back, where we talked about the appropriate sizing of the different lots, and we've had that also under review as well. We think we're getting up with a variety of lots. Probably most importantly, we're talking with Douglas County, which owns some of the property that's between the farmland property and then that's sold in East Hills Business Park. That's going to be part of the infrastructure installation as we work to have an east-west road along the site. So we've been in discussions with Craig Weinog and probably making some level of presentation to the county commission. But you see that all set out there as well. We've got some discussions with, we talked to one of the auto salvage owners there on 19th Street, making connections to talk with the other one as well, because one of the things we eventually want to do is improve 19th Street east of Harper. There used to be a connection into the farmland property off of that. We think that that's valuable. We're continuing to work on the green energy and sustainability values there as well. The EPA report I don't think is going to be available probably until the fall as far as a final document, but we'll be able to glean some information off of that, and then we also have our consultants working on those items as well. So the next steps are eventually, once we've got things we think fairly well nailed down, we'll have this on a regular agenda. You all can talk about it, and then if you appropriately green light it, we will then begin the plating process and the rezoning process for all of this property. And then we will be, as the plats get finalized, we'll then move to construction documents on the first phase that we will then present to you as a special assessment benefit district to begin the work there. So wanted you to see that. We've been having a number of meetings, wanted to make sure that you've got access to that. As you get questions, be sure and send them my way. As you get questions from other citizens, be sure and send them my way, and we'll do our best to respond. Wanted you to see the economic report from the KU Small Business Center. It's a funding that, and a program that you may not always have at the front of your mind. As part of our funding to the Chamber of Commerce, we provide $20,000 a year to the KU Small Business Center, which is housed at the Chamber of Commerce, and you see their report and all the good work that they are conducting. Got information about our electronic equipment recycling event that looks like it had strong participation. Wanted to remind you all, because we just have received the payment in lieu of taxes from the Lawrence Douglas County Housing Authority. Appreciate the fact that an entity that doesn't have to pay property taxes provides that to us. That money is a receipt. It's a revenue in our general fund. And you see that information. And then finally, there was a tennis block party that was hosted by the city and Jayhawk Tennis. Be happy to respond to any questions or comments you might have.
Questions? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. You've heard it. Next item on the agenda is the regular agenda. And item number 1 is to consider approving a temporary use of public right-of-way permit and adopt on first reading ordinance number 8735. Staff?
Good evening, Commissioners. We received a request from Liberty Hall to close a portion of the 600 block of Massachusetts Street on Friday, June 22nd from 1 p.m. to midnight for a celebration of Liberty Hall's 100-year anniversary. Massachusetts will be closed from 7th to just south of the M&M office driveway, and that driveway would be used as a turnaround point for vehicles on the block. We've prepared ordinance number 8735 for your consideration, which would allow possession and consumption of alcohol on the 600 block of Massachusetts during the event. The event organizer's been reaching out to other businesses on the block regarding the event, and we also notified by mail all the property owners and tenants of tonight's meeting. So your requested action tonight is to consider approving the right-of-way permit and the ordinance allowing possession and consumption of alcohol.
Questions for staff? Thank you. Is the applicant here?
Excuse me. Hi, Rob Fitzgerald, manager of Liberty Hall.
Manager, I'm sorry, of,
Event manager, Liberty Hall.
oh, Liberty Hall, okay.
Yes, sir.
Did you want to add anything to the comments of the city clerk?
Not particularly. I thought you might want to ask questions or had some concerns, but it's pretty straightforward street fair kind of thing. Trying to include all of our regular renters, clients, the Lawrence Schools Foundation, Festival of Trees, the community churches and things like that, do a community table sort of thing, and a kid zone, and have some music, and it's our 100th anniversary, so I imagine there'll be a cake involved, and so just basically a little street festival. Nothing's really been completely planned, but we wanted to make sure that we could close the street. We've been kind of talking about it, some way to honor the 100 years of the building, and just thought it would be kind of a neat, sort of out of the ordinary thing.
Rob, I know that you've gone around and visited with all of your neighbors up and down the 600 block of Mass. What kind of response are you getting from them?
Well, Susan Milstein, who's the owner of the building, is actively involved in the running of the place, and she spoke to the folks at the Winfield House, and she said that they had some concerns. They were a little concerned about their parking, and I can understand that, but it's always difficult to park down there in that 600 block of Mass, and I think that we tried to structure the event so it would be when most of those businesses were probably closed. The Free State Brewery, of course, they're on board. Chuck Magrill and been very helpful. He connected me with Bob Sanner, who talked, got us this meeting, and Dave Leff, who's their marketing guy, has been really helpful. So I think we kind of control a lot of the area on the one side that we're talking about in the Winfield House. And, of course, I don't think the Starbucks is going to mind too much selling some extra coffee. So, yeah, I think we've talked to most everybody.
Other questions? One of the questions I have is, always have a grand discussion when Massachusetts Street is asked to be closed off because, well, it helps somebody, it kind of irritates someone else or
Sure.
changes traffic patterns or something like that. Would you be interested in having 7th Street between New Hampshire and Massachusetts closed off?
I don't really have any, I don't think it would dilute from our party per se, but it does, you lose kind of the grand backdrop of the theater. We're trying to celebrate the big yellow building on the corner, and if you're off on the side, well, you get the same effect, but I don't think we'd have any objections. We talked about that in our planning stages, and it sounded like we could work with that if that was going to be, if the Massachusetts location would be a huge issue.
What if we gave you the sidewalk and the parking in front of the theater and the brewery and 7th Street?
That's not a horrible idea. I don't see how. Sure, I mean, we'd be happy to do whatever we can. Of course, our optimum goal would be to have the street in front, but if it couldn't work out, if we could have that area, part of the problem that we're having that night is that we also have a full house concert already in the theater, so we already have 1,000 people coming down. So we're trying to kind of build on that, the fact we already have 1,000 people. We can put them on the side, sure. It's not wouldn't be the end of the world.
Other questions?
So you're proposing that we would close off the section of Mass Street immediately in front of Liberty Hall down to 7th Street, and then the east side of 7th Street?
No, what I was proposing is closing off 7th Street between New Hampshire and Mass, and then if they want to have the sidewalk and the east parking spaces in front of the theater for the backdrop, whatever else they want to do around there. Sounds like you said you're going to have a kids zone, so you're going to have.
Yeah, I mean, we could all do all the trampolines and the stage on the side of the theater. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Are you going to have a band as well?
Probably would have some music, yes. I can't imagine us not. Nothing's been set right now, so there's a lot of things that are swirling around, but there'll definitely be somebody spinning music for the thing, and we hope to have we're talking to some street performer kind of acts, that mingle with the crowd, kind of busker type situation, and we'd definitely have some bands. Mammoth Incorporated, the local concert promoters, they're throwing the show in the theater. So one would presume that they're already on board with getting me, some acts, and I can't imagine there would be you could throw a rock and hit a band in Lawrence, Kansas that wanted to play on a Friday night in downtown Lawrence on the street. So I don't think we'll have any trouble filling the stage, but nothing's been set yet because we wanted to make sure we had the approvals before we jumped on asking a lot of people and getting everybody stirred up about it.
Are there any more questions for the applicant? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
My name is Matt Schwabauer. I live at 373 Woodlawn Drive. This is the first I'd heard of the show, but I think it sounds like a lot of fun. I would close down Mass and let everybody go out there and have a good time.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, City Commission comments?
Just one, and that,
Go ahead.
I guess, I don't have any information on anybody objecting to this location. No one's here. I mean, you've gotten correspondence from,
Got a phone call today.
Okay.
2 phone calls, actually.
okay.
And Mayor, I got probably the same comments that you received today, too, about concern of blocking mass. We had a similar discussion, what was it, a year ago, and talking about, you know, the Nash Dash and having to change times and all this stuff to be accommodating. And I was under the impression that we had talked about using our side streets more, you know, at the various locations. So it seems like those have been working fairly well. I know that there's some concern about using some of them over and over and over again, you know, but seems to still be working okay by using the sides versus closing down Massachusetts Street. So, I mean, I like your idea if it can work for Rob and his folks.
Just, did you have a chance to talk to the folks? I mean, if we moved it to the side, then there's
New people.
new
yeah.
people
we're
to
gonna
talk
have to,
to. Have
yeah,
they?
Yeah, that's a different, well, you know, we have basically, the Raven Bookstore goes down to the alley there, and then it's the Lawrence Journal World. So I don't know what kind of
You can ask
concerns
Chad.
they would have.
Just ask Chad right now.
Is that okay, Chad?
There you go. On the other side is the coffee shop, and Laura Martin Eagle, I know, owns that building, and she rents our space from us, our dance space. She runs her dance studio over there, so she's a tenant of Liberty Hall. And then across the street, you know, Mark Swanson, I know, owns that building, I believe. We do a lot of rock concerts in town, and we have buses a lot, you know, so people are kind of used to us. Our tenants are fine with us parking buses and stuff, but I know the neighbors have gotten a little prickly about buses being parked in front of their buildings in years past, but we haven't had that sort of a conversation. We've never parked a bus on the other side of the street in the past 5 years. So besides that, I mean, we know Mark Swanson's a big supporter of the hall, and friend of the Milsteins, and friend of the hall, and a friend of mine also, so I can't imagine what he would object to, but I really haven't had those conversations with the folks.
Okay. Thank you. Other comments? The only, you know, I pretty much said this before, but whenever you close the street off, it does negatively impact some people, and you disrupt the traffic pattern. And there is traffic that comes over the bridge and goes back and forth, and so it does change things. If we can accommodate them, I mean, obviously I want to make sure that this happens. Seems like 7th Street is a reasonable alternative, especially if we give them the sidewalk in front and the parking spaces. I'm sure those 1,000 patrons will find the music as they walk out the door. I mean, it's not going to be hard for them to make it over to 7th Street, so that's what seems to be a reasonable compromise. Other comments?
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, 100th anniversary happens once, so I wouldn't want to diminish that. But at the same time, I do think you can still have that sense of arrival by using the front parking, as the mayor suggested, and maybe have some, you know, where, but the band and the majority of people being, you're just situated right on the corner where I think this would work without really diminishing.
It's definitely a great location. There wouldn't be any problem at all with using the side, especially with the consideration of being able to have the parking spaces open so that we could do some photo opportunities, and we could alleviate a little of the congestion that inevitably we're going to have with, you know, the Free State Brewery on a Friday night always has got the sidewalk clogged, you know, so now you add thousands of local folks, and that extra grace would be perfect.
Okay.
All right. You got a solution? Would you like to make a motion?
Is there, question, I guess, I mean, if we were to change the location,
Notification.
notification process here, would we want to?
I was going to suggest, if we wanted to follow Mayor Shum's suggestion, that you adopt on the first reading tonight the ordinance allowing alcohol in the 600 block of Mass and amend it to say also the 100 block of East 7th. That way we cover both of the event areas. They would be required by their temporary permit to contain the alcohol in a certain portion of the 600 block of Mass. And then on June 5th, your consent agenda, you could put, or regular agenda, you could put the right-of-way permit, the amended right-of-way permit on, and the second reading of the
So all we need to do is do the ordinance tonight, right? So,
Yeah, and maybe we could request a rendering showing the area that we blocked off on Mass Street, make sure it was acceptable, and then showing the perimeter of 7th Street to make sure everybody knows where we're talking about when we notify.
Okay.
Mayor, I'd move to approve ordinance number 8735 to include the 600 block of Mass immediately in front of Liberty Hall, as well as the 100 block of 7th Street.
Second.
Been moved, Carter, second, Cromwell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. And then on the, what's the date, Jonathan, the 5th? Did you say the 5th? June 5th, we'll have the right, or the, is it a right-of-way permit? Is it? Yeah, okay. Okay. Do you understand all that, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you.
Get the party rolling.
Yeah, so we'll start making the plans.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let me get back here. The next item on the agenda is to recess into executive session for approximately 30 minutes. Moved Carter, second Cromwell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Carries 5-0. Executive session. portion of the meeting, I entertain a motion to extend the executive session for another 20 minutes. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Carries 3-0.
It's cold in here,
It's all hot air.
clearly.
Okay, welcome back. We're just returning from the executive session. At this time, we have nothing to report. We were meeting with our lawyer under a client legal privilege. All right, the next item on the agenda is to receive public comment. Is there anyone who'd like to comment this evening? Seeing none, we will move to the future agenda items.
No meeting next week.
Oh, gosh. Darn. Anybody want to override that? Okay, anything else?
On June the 5th, you'll be considering an appeal on a site plan determination. I believe this is an appeal from the neighbors, is that correct?
It is, but I believe that date's going to move back a couple of weeks with the consent of all parties.
With the consent of all parties, okay, this is, all right. We don't have very many of these.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they're meeting to work through some of the issues to see if it remains on the agenda.
We may be in a position to have your discussion and views in regards to memos in regards to sanitation improvements. You all have seen what we're talking about on carts and automation. Been working with staff on the request for proposals memo in regards to moving forward on curbside recycling. We'll make sure that they'll get an opportunity to see that. And then also, this is a refinancing of some LMH debt. The only way that LMH issues debt is with industrial revenue bonds issued by the city. It's never the debt of the city, but we like to help facilitate that. So we think that that'll be on the agenda on June the 5th. And I'm sure given the week hiatus, we'll have a number of other items on the agenda for the 5th.
Okay, any questions? Next time on the agenda are commission items. Any commissioners have any issues for this evening?
No, sir.
And last, the calendar. And are there any items to call attention to, other than the public meeting, I guess, on the, is it the 6th of June?
Yes, that
6th
somehow
of June at
didn't get on there.
the Free State High School, correct?
Correct.
All right. Hope everyone will be able to attend that. Anything else on calendar? No, it's our favorite time of the evening. Would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.